Hi everyone. In this video I want to talk about each of the 4 steps of your last assignment in Module 6, the methodology video assignment, which you'll find right at the bottom of Submit Your Assignments. On eClass you'll find the link to this assignment. You'll also find the rubric for this assignment in that same location. So just a reminder that before you begin this assignment, don't forget to check the rubric. You can go to the rubric on eClass and you'll notice there that there are 4 steps in this assignment. So let's look at each of those steps in more detail. Step 1 is choosing your methodology video from the list in Module 6. So in this assignment, we're going to be exploring many of the multitudes of approaches to research that are possible. And as you've learned in this course and perhaps had some idea of before, there are just multitudes of ways in which a research problem can be explored. In step 1 of this assignment, you first of all have to choose a methodology to explore, and some of you may have already done that. A warning, since there are 10 methodologies to explore and many more of you, the number allowed per methodology will be limited. And that may mean that you don't get the one that you want, but that's okay for 2 reasons. First, you will get a chance to explore a methodology you might not otherwise have taken the time to explore in more detail. And that's important as a researcher to have that kind of expertise. And 2, you will have a chance to view and even download the videos produced by your colleagues on the methodology you might have preferred, and other ones that as you watch them you think, that's interesting as well, which will give you important information and resources. So here's how you can find the place on eClass to choose a methodology for your presentation. Okay, so on eClass you'll go to Submit Your Assignments, and when you get to the bottom you'll notice here, for example, what I was talking about before. This is what you would open. But when you want to make a choice for your methodology choice, then you're going to go here for the Module 6 assignment. And you'll notice there's a little question mark beside it, so just look for the question mark. And when that opens, okay, I'm going to try to pull this further. Okay, so down the side you'll see the choice of options, and they're here, and you'll see a little box, number of responses, the users who chose that option, and so on. And so you'll notice that there are some names that you may know here that have already chosen them. I think I left it so that there are, I think there's two that can be chosen per, or perhaps it's 3, can be chosen per video. And what you will do is choose a methodology, and there's a video attached to that methodology, and I'll show you that in a moment. But here are, so these are the not yet answered. And then these are people who have actually already chosen. So under action research, there would be room for 2 more. So if you wanted action research, you would tick this where it says choice options, and your name would pop up underneath that choice option. Action network theory, same thing. Arts-based research, case study, feminist research, grounded theory, metasage, mixed methods, and you can't see this, but phenomenology and quantitative research. So, so if you want any of those, you can click that, and it will pop up. So when you make that choice, that will be what you will be presenting your video on. Many of the researchers in the videos that you'll be choosing from will mention authors or provide resource ideas in their video. So step 2 is exploring your methodology that's discussed in the video that you've chosen using 2 to 3 academic readings. So if it's phenomenology, for example, I think the video is of Max van Manen, an interview with Max van Manen. And so you can take that up, and he'll refer to, well, he's done a lot of writing himself, so that would be a good resource. And you might go to others as well that he mentions and look at 2 or 3 different authors that approach research in this way. And once you've done that, once you've explored the methodology discussed in the video using those 2 to 3 academic readings, then you'll be ready for step 3, which is preparing your 10 to 15 minute video, in which you'll include an overview, the philosophical underpinnings for, just, you don't have to make a huge presentation about that, but some idea of where this approach has come from philosophically, and then a thoughtful consideration of how and why or why not this methodology might be useful for your research project. Having done some background research, then you're going to plan and prepare a 10 to 15 minute video using any technology that's easily accessible to your colleagues. And I stress that because you want it to be something that they're going to be able to access easily using the URL that you provide. For example, you can download your video onto YouTube. And that would be an easy way to do it. Now, YouTube has made it a little more complicated than it used to be, so you have to establish your own channel on YouTube, etc. But it's not actually that hard to do, so it's one of the ways you can do it. Also, for example, I use Screencast-O-Matic for videos like this, and they have their own URLs that you can actually provide to people to watch and so on. The one thing I would mention, however, is that a lot of these have private and public settings, and you may feel that you don't want the whole world to see this video, although I'm sure the whole world would be very interested in the video, but don't set it to private. I mean, somebody would have to be looking very hard for your video to find it, for one thing, so there's not that kind of worry. But secondly, after everybody's had a chance to see it, respond to it, etc., once the course is done, you can set it back to private, or you can delete it for that matter, although I would suggest not deleting it for a while because your colleagues might want to have a look at it again. But set it on private, and then if you're trying to get that video and it won't show up, get in touch with the person. They may have set it to private and they can tell you how to get access to it. But otherwise, it just makes it so complicated, and I get a million emails with people saying I can't get into such and such. So just save us all the trouble and just set it at public, and then change it afterwards if you think about it. It really isn't a problem either way to set it to public. I've never had any kind of issues with it. So if you feel comfortable doing that, if you feel uncomfortable for whatever reason, let me know and we'll try to work something out. But it really is so much easier just to set it at public. Many of you are very used to producing a video for others, but for some this may be a new experience. Although I think with COVID and everybody having to teach online for a while and all those sorts of things, people are a lot more familiar with doing this than they perhaps used to be. So if you are unfamiliar, I would suggest an easy technology like Screencast-O-Matic, which is why I chose it. It's what I use for my own videos, as unprofessional as they are, but nevertheless, it does the job, and it does it quite easily, and you can get a free subscription to it. Now, the free subscription doesn't provide you with the editing function, but you can still do a great job of it. And you can also set it for having your face showing, as well as your PowerPoint slides, or whatever it is that you're using. If you're using something else, that's fine too. But it shows exactly what's on your screen, and you have a way of framing that so that you show the part of the screen that you want it to record. And so it's quite an easy technology, I find. And if you want to be talking to the text, your face can show. Now, I know that there are fancier ways to do it. I know I've had students using Zoom, where they're kind of cut right into the slide, and it's very slick. So if you're familiar with those kind of technologies, go for it. I mean, it would be wonderful, and I wish I knew all of them. but nevertheless, if you're looking for something simple, I would suggest Screencast-O-Matic, and there are lots of others. In fact, I would suggest that you talk to your colleagues, because they probably have far better ideas than I have. Your video needs to include 3 things: an overview of the methodology, as I mentioned, a short exploration of its philosophical underpinnings, and a thoughtful discussion about how and why or why not it's useful for your research projects. That's what it needs to include. and it needs to do that in some kind of interesting and visually kind of stimulating or interesting way. So once you've completed your video and it's in a format that anyone in the class can access easily, and I emphasize that again, post an accessible link to your video in the discussion forum in Module 6, and you'll find the forum just as you normally would. And all you have to do, instead of doing your usual 300 or 400 words or whatever it happens to be, all you have to do is just say, if you want to make it fancy, you can say something like, if you're looking for my URL, go to whatever the URL is. Try to set it up so that it's clickable. It makes it a whole lot easier than having to cut and paste into your line and that sort of thing. But whatever you can do is what we'll deal with. And then your colleagues will be able to click it, they'll be able to access your video and watch it, and then they'll be able to comment on the forum as well. So just as usual, you're going to host your thread and participate in at least 2 other threads. So that means that you'll watch at least 2 other videos and make comments on them. I've opened it up. I've opened the thread up, or the forum up, to being able to see any of them. So you can make choices. And I would suggest, especially if you see somebody's is not being watched, watch it. I mean, first of all, everybody needs some feedback on their assignment. But secondly, it might be something you never thought about before, and then you might find it just absolutely fascinating. So never step back from something that just because you haven't heard of it before, or just because it doesn't sound interesting or whatever. Jump into it, because you just never know what you're going to find. So along with your link, then you're going to post a list of your resources as well. So along with your URL, you're going to also list all of the resources, and I suggest that you do it that way as well as in your video, where you'll need to list your resources as well, because then people can cut and paste it out of the right out of the form, whatever you call that screen that you're reading. Oh, my words won't come to me today. Anyway, they can just cut and paste it rather than having to go back into the video and then, copy it out. It makes it a lot more accessible. So in addition to your URL, you're also going to list all of the resources that you used in putting your video together. And when I'm marking, I'll be checking that list as well, so that I see what you've had a look at, rather than, having to go back into your video and as it flashes by trying to figure it out. So it makes it easier for everybody if you do it that way. So I think that's everything that you need to know about presenting your video, other than finding out where the videos are. So let's have a look at that. Okay, so we're back on eClass, and we're going to go way down to where it says Research Methodology Videos. And then you can open that up. And as usual, my computer is very slow. But eventually what will come up is a list of videos that you'll be able to then access and open it up. It's loading very slowly. Okay, so for example, action research, you would just open it as you do. Here it is. It says view online. That's how you would open it up, just like you do your other resources that we've been using throughout the course. So that's where you find the research video that you're going to be using for your presentation. And I think that is everything now that you need to know. And if you have any questions, and I'm sure there will be many, please feel free to get in touch with me. And please remember to check the amended due dates that are listed on eClass. In fact, I can go back to that. Oh, maybe I can't. Okay, so here's your regular list of key dates, and here's my kind of weird list of key dates for Module 5 and 6, so you'll be able to see exactly when things are due from that. Okay, that's it. Hope that's helpful, and if you have any questions, please let me know.